of the Princeton Zoning Board of Adjustment being held on Wednesday, July 24th at 7:30 in the municipal complex. Pursuant to Section 13 of the Open Public Meetings Act, adequate notice of the time and place of this regular meeting has been provided by prominently displaying the schedule of regular meetings on the official notice board in the municipal complex and by transmitting a copy of this schedule to the Princeton Packet, Town Topics, and Trenton Times and Trentonian. And to Comcast Cable of New Jersey, a copy also has been filed with the clerk of Princeton. We have a quorum? Okay.
Chairman Cohen?
Yes.
Ms. Coulson? Mr. Davidge?
Yes.
Mr. Floyd?
Yes.
Mr. Shriver?
Yes.
Mr. Tenenbaum?
Yes.
Mr. Vavanis?
Here.
Ms. Chen? Ms. Perron-Lambrose? Mr. Stein? Thank you.
Here.
Okay, before we get started, we have a few things to do. The minutes from September 26th. Has everybody read them? Somebody like to make a motion on these?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Okay, seconded. Yes.
Mr. Davidge?
Yes.
Mr. Floyd?
Yes.
Mr. Shriver?
Yes.
Mr. Tenenbaum?
Yes.
Thank you.
Yes.
Okay, all right. Let's see, we've got 4 resolutions before we start. The first one, let me just get these out. The first one is case number Z1919-732, 321 Brooks Bend, Block 5002, Lot 3 in the R1 zone. Any comments? Someone like to make a motion?
Move to approve the resolution.
Second?
Second.
Okay. Claudia?
Mr. Floyd?
Yes.
Mr. Shriver?
Yes.
Mr. Tenenbaum?
Yes.
Mr. Vavanis?
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay, the second one is 20 Bayard Lane, Block 20, Lot 14 in the R1 zone. I believe you emailed everything to people, Claudia? It says not included in the packet, I think. Didn't you send
But
out?
it was sent by email.
Okay. Comments? Anyone?
So moved.
Second.
Okay.
I'm sorry, I don't have my copy. Karen?
Oh, I'm sorry. I'll do it. I've got your copy. Mr. Floyd,
Yes.
Mr. Shriver,
Yes.
Mr. Stein,
Yes.
Mr. Tenenbaum,
Yes.
Mr. Valvanus.
Yes.
Okay. Third one is 49 Wiggins, Block 2803, Lot 91 in the residential zone, case number Z1919-727. Has everyone read it? Any comments?
Motion to approve. Second.
Mr. Floyd?
Yes.
Mr. Shriver?
Yes.
Mr. Tenenbaum?
Yes.
Mr. Vavanis?
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay, the last case is Z1919 735, 6 James Court, Block 6705, Lot 26, in the R6 zone.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Mr. Floyd?
Yes.
Mr. Shriver?
Yes.
Mr. Tannenbaum?
Yes.
Mr. Valvanis?
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay, now on to the hearings. Our first hearing, and only hearing, is case number Z 1919-738, 5 Cleveland Lane, Block 7.02, Lot 17, in the R1 zone of the former borough.
Board members, the noticing is in order, and the board has jurisdiction to hear the application.
Thank you.
And I'll swear you in, Mr. Bridger, for the evening. Do you swear or affirm your testimony this evening will be truthful?
Yes, ma'am, I do. Thank you. That volume works. Steve, you want me to do my memo, or?
Yes, please.
Good evening. Applicants Mariangelo Lisanti and Peter Hawkins are the owners of 5 Cleveland Lane, and they are seeking C1 and C2 variance relief to permit the construction of first and second story additions in exception to the required side yard setbacks. The property is located in the former R1 zone the R1 zone in the former Princeton Borough, and is subject to the use and bulk regulations in accordance with 17A 227 and 231. Single-family use is permitted as of right. Subject lot is non-conforming with respect to the required lot area. The required lot area is 20,000 square feet. The existing is 5,009. It's non-complying with respect to the lot width. The requirement's 125. The existing is 50. And the lot depth requirement is 125, and the existing is 99.18. And the house itself is non-complying with respect to the smaller side yard requirement of 10 feet. The existing is 1.7. It's non-compliant with the larger side yard setback, which is required 20. The existing is 3.9. And the combined side yard requirement is 30, whereas the existing is 5.6. It's non-complying with the rear yard setback of 35. The existing is 34. And this property had a variance granted back in 2000 to permit a 77-square-foot bathroom addition to the eastern rear facade of the building. The current application is requesting C1, C2 variance relief to permit the construction of a first-floor, approximately 67-square-foot addition over the existing deck at the rear of the house. This addition will maintain the existing rear wall of the house, and a 93-square-foot second-floor addition is proposed on the second floor. And a third-floor dormer is proposed on the western elevation. The additions require the following variances. The rear addition requires a smaller side yard setback variance. Again, the requirement's 10. The proposed is 8, and it does not comply with the required 30-foot combined side yard setback. The existing is 22.3. The new attic dormer does not comply with the required 20-foot setback. The proposed is 17.95. They've requested consideration, as I said, under both C1 and C2. If you have any questions, I'd be glad to try to answer them. Thanks.
Okay. Look, say something?
Do we need to be sworn in or something? I didn't.
If you would all identify yourselves first for the record. Just need your names.
Oh, I see.
Mariangela Lisanti.
Peter Hawkins.
And Catherine Knight, the architect.
All right, and if you would all raise your right hand, do you swear or affirm your testimony this evening will be truthful?
We do.
Thank you.
Okay. Please, explain to us what you want to do.
I think the homeowners are just going to introduce themselves first.
Sure. Yeah. So my name is Mariangela. I'm a actually work at the university. I'm a professor in the physics department. I first moved to Princeton about 10 years ago, and then when my husband joined me, we moved to 5 Cleveland Lane in 2015.
Could you get closer to the mic,
Yeah,
please?
so-
It's very hard to hear you.
We moved to 5 Cleveland Lane in 2015. We really love the location, which is why we'd really like to be able to stay there, but we were hoping to make some changes to the layout of the house just to gain a little bit more space and just make the layout a bit more livable. And so that's why we've been working with Kathy and why we're here this evening.
Great. So if you don't, my name's Catherine Knight, I'm their architect, and I was just, I don't know if there's any questions on the drawings. I was going to start by just taking you through a quick PowerPoint that also describes what the addition is proposed, similar to what Derek just spoke about, and then obviously I'll be able to answer any questions that you might have.
Ms. Knight, just quick question. You are
Yes.
licensed in the state of New Jersey, correct?
Yes, I am.
And you're the project architect?
That's correct.
All right, and why don't do you want to call your entire PowerPoint then Exhibit A1?
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you. So I think the first thing just to note is the size of their lot and how small it is compared to their neighbors. It's shown in a box there, and it's quite a bit smaller. As Mr. Bridger just said, it's a 5,000 square foot lot in a 20,000 square foot zone. Just another view of it. The proposal for the expansion, if you see on the diagram, you see all the setbacks that are required. Part of the challenge is that the house is parallel to the street, but the property lines are skewed, so that doesn't help with the side yard setback. It also drops off to the rear of the property, so that makes it harder for the height setback ratio. We are proposing to just fill in a small piece of a wood deck in the rear of the building, so we're not extending back any further on the ground floor to the rear yard. It's a 67 square foot addition, I believe it is. So it's quite modest proposed. If you see on the first floor, it's just fills in a little gap and just makes the layout a little easier for the home. Going up to the second floor, there were two very small bedrooms at the front of the house, and they are converting that to one bedroom and adding a very small bedroom in the back is a proposal. It's 7.6 by 14 feet, so it will still remain a 3-bedroom house. It currently has 3 full baths. They're going to convert it to a 2.5 bath house with half the bath turns into a laundry room. So they're really not looking to add a bedroom. They're just looking to improve and get a little bit more usable space for the home. Because it has a lovely pitched roof, oops, I skipped the attic. Because it has a lovely pitched roof, they wanted to utilize some of the space up there. So we proposed adding a stair and a dormer at that upper level, getting them a little bit more space for a study. The impact on the front of the house, if you can see there's a little dormer shown. It'll be about 20 feet back from where the existing front of the house is now, where the garage door is. So it's going to be set back quite far from the street. And that's really the only impact you'll see from the street for this addition. Are you having trouble hearing me still? Sorry.
Yeah, you talk fast.
Okay, sorry. Would you like me to repeat? Would you like me to go back at all? Repeat anything that I said? No? Okay. On the east elevation, you can see it's very hard to even get a photo of the house just the way it's situated on the east elevation, but the proposal is just, there's 2 dormers there now, and we're looking to add a matching dormer on the rear of the home. And it goes back about 8 feet into the backyard. On the north elevation, this is where we showed that we're filling in a deck area, so we're extending back 8 feet in that area that's shown shaded in purple is the proposal. So we're gaining just a small amount of space on the first floor and the second floor and the attic. And on the last elevation, the west elevation, the impact would be a small dormer, which is less than half the width of the roof. So that's sort of an overview of what the proposal is for the project. And if there are any questions, I'd be happy to answer them.
The current attic is not finished, is that correct?
That's correct.
You're not increasing the footprint, you're just filling in that back space at the first floor, extending over an existing portion of the second floor and the third floor.
That's right. So it's the 67 square feet on the first floor, which is enclosing a deck, so it doesn't affect any impervious coverage either, an existing deck.
So we're not, with the exception of the dormer, we're not increasing the degree of noncompliance. I mean, that's a minimal change, is that correct, Derek? Yeah, just that dormer is projecting it.
Yeah.
That kind of goes into the smaller side yard setback too, but,
Oh,
I mean, it's all going up. There is no new impervious coverage.
Right.
So,
Yeah. Yeah. Well, this is certainly one of the smaller lots in the community.
Yes.
That's an understatement.
It's also one of the smallest additions we've seen.
This carries it to an extreme, right? I used to live at the other end of the block, so I know the house very well. So, I don't have any other questions. Does anybody have any questions, comments? No? Is there anybody from the audience who'd like to say something? No? Okay. You want to say anything in closing?
We really appreciate your time and Derek's support for helping us pull together the application. And Claudia, yes, Claudia.
Okay. All right. Well, let's go into executive session here. Any comments from any of the board members? Do you have any concerns or like to make a comment? I really don't see this as a problem. I think it's a nice little house and on a very decent street. And I think I have no problem with the addition at all. I think it'll help, obviously, make the house a little more livable. And I would vote to approve it.
Will we do it as a C1 or a C2?
What would you say? I'd probably say it's C2, right?
I mean, the lot's a quarter of the size of the required lot area. The width is less than half the required lot width. I mean, you could definitely do a C1 or both.
Or both? Can we do it as both? Sure. Okay. Okay. So, Claudia, would you like to call a roll?
Well, do we have a motion?
Oh, I'm sorry. Somebody like to make a motion to approve it?
I'll motion to approve.
Second.
Second, okay. Okay.
Chairman Cohen,
Yes.
Mr. Davidge,
Yes.
Mr. Floyd,
Yes.
Mr. Shriver,
Yes.
Mr. Tenenbaum. Yes. Mr. Valvanis,
Yes.
Mr. Stein.
Yes.
Thank you.
It was close.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, thank you.
Well, we've got to do the resolution first, so I can read it into the record. It was distributed with your packages, whereas the board wishes to convene in a closed session for the purpose of the receipt of advice of counsel and matters falling within the attorney-client privilege with respect to pending litigation known as Sunrise Development versus Princeton Zoning Board of Adjustment, And whereas such closed session is permitted pursuant to the Open Public Meetings Act, NJSA 10:4-12, and whereas the discussion conducted in closed session shall be made available at such time as the issues discussed therein are resolved, and its disclosure would not subvert any particular exception for convening a closed session, now therefore be it resolved on this 24th day of July, 2019, that the Princeton Zoning Board of Adjustment shall go into closed session for the aforesaid purpose. So we need a motion and a
Move to approve the resolution to move into closed session.
second. All in favor? Votes, okay.
Aye.
Okay.
We